second segment of the show, we're looking at Nigerian youth and economic development. And as I said earlier, we have in the studio with us Pastor Ogunrotimi Moses. He's a youth empowerment advocate. Welcome to today's show.
Thank you very much.
And once again, joining us for the second time, we have Mr. Chidi Ulelu. He is a social entrepreneur, he's an entrepreneur, he's a youth advocate, and he's an education advocate, and he loves to just, get to impact the next generation. You're welcome, Mr. Chidi.
Thank you for having me again.
Okay, so on this segment, we're going to still be looking at youth, and we're looking at economic development. I'm going to start with Mr. Ogunrotimi. This particular set of people do not even know most times that they have this money coming in. They don't have that they have opportunities. Earlier we were talking about people like doing this training, and yet there are also social media. What do you think is responsible for the gap? What do you think is responsible for the gap that we see in our life?
Please, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think the most reason why they don't know this information, what you don't know about, you don't understand. And what you don't understand, you cannot get in front of it. So, information. So we need a lot of national orientation, which has to be done through youth empowerment centers.
So there's this lack of information. You're saying that the reason they're not aware of some of it, because I'm sure that last week you were talking, that's why I started from there. Last week we were talking about some of these things that they're supposed to know about. Germany signed with Nasima. I know they signed another one with, I know China signed with Huawei Technologies and something else, and there are lots of projects that they can tap into. Dr. Chidi.
Okay, we also might need to add that we can't really say that they are not hearing. The social media is, the TVs and the newspapers. But you see, the way you communicate these things to that age group or to those people that are the target audience also matters. At a time when I keep referring to the Asians, they needed to change the orientation of their youth. So after singing the national anthem in the school, you say, anywhere I see land, I'll plant rice. Anywhere I see water, I'll put fish. Have you planted rice today? Have you put fish in water today? And that's subsistent kind of economy, entered into their system. So in our schools, in the churches, in the mosques, how do we communicate this thing here to them?
The information. So it shouldn't just be about, how we just give them the spiritual knowledge alone, but this information needs to be available for everybody to actually know, to know about. When we're talking about nation building, how exactly can the youth, if this information is made available, what areas do you see them being able to improve this economy?
The youths are the power base. They are the potential of every economy. In Nigeria today, the number of people, the higher percentage of people we have are youths. And it is a great resource and manpower which is not fully utilized. There are so many youths doing so many things. You understand? It is until my brother said something about the way we are communicating. Communication is key. If you are speaking French and I'm speaking English, and we're saying the same thing or speaking around the same thing, but we don't hear what you're saying, we just lose out. So the way we hear and the way we communicate, it's so very important. Here, the way we speak and the way we hear things. You understand?
Yeah.
Then to translate it now into the society, it is how you have been trained. You are not only trained to use your hands, but to use your brains, because it's how your brain develops that will now determine how the hand works. Two people learning the same skill can come out, and one will just be a roadside champion, another will become an international champion because of the development of the brain. You have to put a global perspective, whatever he's doing. That I don't just want to be known locally, I want to be known internationally. Then you now raise your standard in everything you're learning about, your approach, your manner of doing things, the way you speak, the way you attend to clients, everything has to change to international acceptable standards. So the kind of training, the kind of communication. There's so many areas. Then when we now start to put centers together, a place where youth can identify in every local government. This is Mushin Local Government Youth Center, where any youth can come there freely without discrimination. Ask questions. It's an open center for youth development. They come in, they walk in, they can ask, they can talk to somebody, a counselor.
Yes, if you're just joining us, we're talking about Nigerian youth and nation building. Nigerian youth and nation building. That's what we're talking about today. We're focusing basically on the youth. And as our Pastor Ogunrotimi was saying earlier, there is that much information around. Well, he said there should be centers. Are there centers like that, Dr. Chidi?
Okay. There are many centers where these young people are normally, clustered together. But what has actually been very good in recent times is that there are centers in the universities, research institutes, where innovations are commercialized, and where people are told what they need to do. So I think we should bring it out a little bit. We should bring it out to where the technical schools, and then there are so many of them that have been set.
They said there are so many technical schools.
So we have to tell people where these technical schools are and make them also affordable, if not entirely free. So that once you come out of a certain level of education, and then you don't find yourself almost dying with jam or all those kind of stuff. You key into something. So I think such levels also exist. But taking it a little further, because we promised the audience today, there are some practical things
that can be done. Let's talk about those practical things.
Almost immediately. Number one, say it the way it is. The bilateral agreements that were signed, the older generation have actually, I wouldn't use the word mortgage. Whether you like it or not, they are mortgage your future. Zambia signed agreement with China, and they're about to lose their national airport, Kelekanda airport, because the Chinese actually have a way of making sure that whatever they are giving you, you secure it with a national asset. So the youths are going to pay. With that at the back, what are you now going to do practically? I'll just give one example before you move into the other one. High tech, agric. In agric alone, the Chinese import a lot of soya.
And we plant soya now.
And our soya is like the best. What I've just mentioned now can create nothing less than $1.2 million to supply 2 or 3% of Chinese needs. So they are coming to give us these loans. We don't have to tell them. We now say, this number of people, we empower you in this soya industry.
This is their need.
They farm belts in some cars from rubber. And this rubber, no matter how you pray and fast, cannot grow in Europe. It's right here. That alone can also make 10 local governments and all their youths
rich.
Very, very rich. Lastly, before you take over, there is one that is, you can't imagine it. Some young people in the south and grow marijuana, cannabis in the farm. And there is a plant called Artemisia annua. Artemisia annua is what they use to make ACTs, artemether, lumefantrine, that they put in malaria. And malaria has more than 25 to 30% of world in Nigeria. And we import. The same people the same technology of growing cannabis is the one of growing. And that, as I've just said it now, can put another 50,000 to 60,000 people to work. These are practical
areas. What kind of practical area would you be looking at, sir? Because we're talking about agriculture. What about the education?
Yes. I want us to focus on both the formal and informal sectors. The greatest way to work is the public-private partnership. We who are already in the private sector, the NGOs, should start connecting with one another. Once you know that you have a skill that is already affecting 5-10 people, multiply it. Multiply it amongst the community. You understand?
The community
Multiply
you are.
whatever community you are. You understand? And then seeking that whatever is natural resources. You understand? That is the agri. But the one is the mind resources. You understand? Somebody's into sports, somebody's into music, somebody's into shoemaking. Encourage the person. Start from that cobbler to become a shoemaking industry. Immediately on that street, 20 boys are already gone. Just think about it, 20 boys per street into each sector. Somebody gets into a barbing salon, become a barbing school, a fashion industry. I know the lady.
It's one of the biggest
Yes,
actually in the US.
Yes.
Barbing.
Barbing.
A friend of mine called me from the US and said, see, I've stopped barbing my children's hair here. She said because she spends $50 to barb hair for a 4-year-old.
You see? So barbing, somebody's into she just started a fashion design and immediately asked her to start a school. And now, as I said, 8 students. 8 students enrolled, and she's going on again. You understand? 8 people out of the street.
People who are getting empowered.
You understand? And the more, and the thing is that immediately
this is the informal sector. We're not even looking at
the informal sector.
yet.
Yes, once the informal sector is running, it will now empower the informal sector. You understand? Where people just want to be knowledgeable just to go and get jobs. No, we need to be job creators, not only job seekers. We need to create employment for others. Once you are, then the informal sector I'm talking about is start integrating this into the academics.
Into the academics, so into the curriculum
Yes.
of schools.
We can now maybe make Fridays, or maybe just once a week. Stop only math, English, general science. Put skill acquisitions. Start skill clubs. Invite people who are working outside to come into the schools and start skill clubs. There's one thing that Lagos learned, that is Lagos Empowerment, something that was by the former governor's wife. It was really working. I worked with her under me at this one, and we empowered so many children in Lagos State.
You know, there was a time when every youth you find in Lagos is either making beads, making hair, making this, making. There are lots of people and they have lots of skill, and you'll be surprised at how much money they actually have to spend.
It's so much, and then you can only get the last Peter said something to you. You can only get money, only create value.
Yeah.
Although we're not only talking about getting money now. Create value. We want the nation to develop.
Attract the wealth that you need to.
What is making China a world power today? Youth empowered. The society is developed because individuals are developed. Once individuals are developed, the society will develop. Once each street, or let's say each community, not even street yet, has an empowerment center. That's what I'm talking. A place where people can say, I went there to learn something.
Yeah.
And each community or each ward or each local government can boast of 20, 50, 100 people all over the country, nationwide. Then is it through farming? Is it through semi-skills? Whatever kind of skills. Nigeria is so blessed. We don't even need to go to China for money.
That's the thing. Dr. Chidi was saying it last week that we don't need to go to China. We could have actually raised the money.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, and then we also need to elevate the narrative. High tech, because I've talked about agriculture. Practical ways that we can actually, help you to get empowered. And I keep talking about the Chinese because they are the ones that are like coming to almost to colonize us again.
Yes,
high tech. And under 30 Nigerian was able to develop an app that was sold for almost $1 billion in America. So why wouldn't such an app be also sold in China? So we should get to where our technological products are also acceptable in their own place. And then the health industry. The Chinese are so health conscious. We got a joint team that came here. By the time we exposed bitter leaf to them and what they could do with bitter leaf, as I'm talking to you now, they took some of the bitter leaf back, they took some of the yam, they took some of the plantain, they call it big bananas, and they are working mainly on the health angle. So if you target 0.001% of Chinese health industry, that also is something that can create the kind of jobs that we are looking at here. So in our technology, they have given us the renminbi. We said, okay, we have 750 billion worth of things to import from China over the next 2.5 years. And we are running the TV, the telephones and everything. Can we also, within this period, find a way to export
to them
our own capacities, our own software that we have been able to develop. And mainly in that health industry, that joint team, we found out that there is something that you can use this Tomisin, for enlargement for women. Yeah. The man didn't allow us to rest for the next 3 days. He said, that one. And we submitted our own report. This is like 8 years ago. But they have elevated. In fact, I'm sure that Nigerians have started importing, something that, because it doesn't involve surgery.
Yes.
So these are things that can be done in agri, in high tech, and in the health industry.
Let's talk about education. The last set of speakers we were talking about the educational gap. We go to school, we learn the skills, and we keep wondering, how do we interpret, how do we make this education, work for us? And last week, I remember that we talked about some people actually, China send people outside their immediate environment, send them to the UK, send them to the US. How can we take advantage? Because Jenny is now calling us to come out. Jenny is actually saying, come and school there. How can we take advantage of the educational sector in most of these developed countries?
Area I would want us to focus is Asia. Because that's action learning. The Germans are calling us, the British are calling us, and I really don't know how it got to be that we even think. This is 1914 to 1960. They only colonized us for 40-something years, and we have been ruining ourselves now for almost 60. So let's get these people apron strings off our legs. I think we should go learn from China, learn their language, learn their culture, learn how they were able to overcome what happened, the British, whatever, and then use that system to also bring ourselves up. Like what I just told you, their own education is targeted towards solving their own challenges. We have challenges that are Nigerian based. I went to house, and then we were trying to demonstrate how to process cassava into flour, into starch. And cassava does not grow in Europe. So they call it African potato. And then they have already fabricated the machine. It's coming. I don't want to mention the state. In Nigerian colors, green, white, green. And the fabrication was done based on potato. Don't worry about what happened, because the machine came here. It couldn't adapt because it was not done. So we need our own machinery. We need our own educational system. We need our own homemade things and solve our problem, so that when the thing breaks up or breaks down, we can also handle it. Lastly, on this line, they design their things. In fact, you will be here and you could have done 30 minutes of farming this morning before coming to the studio, because the tractor is designed at home. An 11-year-old daughter can actually drive it, and it has air conditioning. So who wouldn't want to farm?
When your tractor has air conditioning, what do we do about our educational sector, sir? Our own educational sector here.
We need to really revamp it. We need to upgrade it to the kind of education that can make you self-sufficient. We need to really change a lot of things. I know there's this course what they call the Montessori, which is kind of hands-on, but we need to look, as my brother said here, at our own homegrown technologies, our homegrown made systems. What is the problem in my house, my own house, in where I'm living? And use that to solve that problem. By the time you solve problems, community-based, absolutely community-based, local government-based, then they do not have the technology that can solve it. By the time they're solving problems as per communities, things are going to work out. You understand? The kind of books we read, the kind of things we learn. Yes, the general book will come in, then the general book will not have people. We have so many Nigerians. Read the general book and break it down to the knowledge of the people within your local government. They are living in Etiosa. What does Etiosa have to do with geography? What does HSL have to do with economy? What does HSL have to do with social studies? Break it down to HSL local government. When you're talking to an HSL pupil, let's have in HSL, this is so. Let them understand it based on what they are doing. Then these are the issues that must be solved. If you say something about wherever you see land, plant rice, wherever you see water, put fish, let them know, this is HSL. We need, just talk about the things that are needed in the environment and let the child understand and let the brain move towards that. Not only to absorb what is written in the books. The letter kill it. Too much letters is killing.
Yes.
But when they now have an understanding, it's the spirit that gives life. Education is the spirit. When you have the right spirit, you give life. And that is the life that's in China. And we also have that life in Nigeria. It can come out of us if we challenge it right.
Yes, and the copying well. Copying is good. Copying well. They didn't come out just like that. The Millennium Development Goals. Everybody, they went there to UN. And they bowed down and said, UN, tell us. That's China. And they collected the MDGs the same time we collected. But at the end of the day, apart from lifting 450 million people out of poverty within that period, meeting number one goal, the education, 98% compliance. So 10 million people in Nigeria with a population of less than 200 million are out of school. China with almost 2 billion had 98% compliance on a Millennium Development Goal. So UN couldn't but just clap for China. And they have already set it because they incorporated that Millennium Development Goal into their own
already established system.
Thank you.
We have our target.
Yes, and they call it the National Development Program. And our people, we don't throw away policies just like that. Because any new person that comes, you want to. So we should do it in such a way that some of these things become institutionalized. So it's not when the new government comes.
He abandons this one and he takes on the 100.
You understand? On a lighter note, everybody know the Trump effect.
Yeah.
There are so many things Trump has done over the past 24 months that can never be changed again.
Yeah.
Because he has institutionalized them. So let's spend some brain energy and put things
in place that
above the reach of the person that is coming, so that even if he wants to catch up,
he will not be able to condemn what has been done.
Education-wise, the foundation is not right. The British system, I'm not condemning it, but it has not really helped us. It has only made us, look at Mrs. May. She came the other time, as if, he's coming to flog some small children. She actually had a need. She's the one that needs help. She came to Nigeria for help, and she's not telling us how many times we should eat in a week, how to guard our children. You understand those kind of stuff. So let's throw those childish things away and then look at action learning. Whereas you are learning, you are doing, and institutionalize it right from when the young people are there, right from primary school. Let's get it up. And before these people get to 18 or 19, their mind has changed from I must go and do a white collar
job.
And like the last segment, people will now start creating value.
I want us to talk about that education a bit as we're rounding up. We're talking about education right here. I know that in developed countries, I know that in the US, for example, I know that in the UK, as you work, even our children, when they travel abroad to school, as you are schooling, you're working. Can we create such a system where education is key, but you get to work? So when you're going to school, and when you finish school and you're going into the workforce, or you're going into the job market, you're not a green on, as it were. What do you think? Because I'm actually thinking, is it possible to have a system where people can have internship programs, organizations can approach the private sector and say, let's have graduates who are within maybe this grade in school come to intern with you, inculcate it into the system?
Yes. This is how action learning. That's people joining to workers is very important, but the kind of school is also very important. If you get a community and they are predominantly farmers, and you now come and put a IT school
in that community,
confusing the children.
Why
don't you put a farming school
there
and give them the best methods of farming?
Of agriculture.
Of agriculture. You understand? In that environment. To the same extent that you can even get to the level of AC tractors. So when these children know that we are farmers, but farming can be done not only with go and cutlass, but also with tractors, they will go to that school. Their parents will not withdraw them. They will send them to school.
Okay, so like what we have in our Greek universities, they should be in communities where...
Yes, like the university I attended in Thailand. The fabrics are produced by the cotton yarns that are, spawn in the university. The shoes, almost everything in the university. So they don't have time. In fact, the students in the university wear uniforms. So while we are busy here trying to manicure and our own children, in the school, they don't have that time. They come in uniforms, and everything that is produced in the school is produced there. We got it wrong a bit, but we can correct it. I learned those days in Mayflower, almost everything. That's how the children were taught. Everything that is eaten in the school is farmed
there.
In the school.
And processed. We can go back to that. We can go back to some of these practical ways of using what we have to get what we are looking for. I want to let you know, there's nothing we can no longer do here. Nigerians have created a badge, an oil rig that is functional. Nigerians can build aeroplane if they want.
Yes, we can.
All that is needed, I give a quote, is give the people, show the light to the people, they will find the way. Bill Clinton said it, there is too little capacity in Africa for people to act. Create this capacity through what we have already. And then I think the young people will thrive. Our young people are very, you know them. When they go outside, you see the way they perform. So create the enabling environment for them, they will thrive. That's what I think.
And if the enabling environment is not created by government, create it for yourself.
Thank you.
Create it for yourself.
Yes.
Youth, go out and create something for yourself. Don't wait for government again. Join groups and do something together. God will help us in Jesus' name.
Okay, so as we close today's show, it's been an interesting one, and I'm sure that a lot of young people that were listening to us today, your minds should be as full as I have. I had to pick up my pen and I had to start writing stuff. And learn a skill. My closing remarks: learn to acquire. You learn to acquire skill, and then when you learn to acquire skill, you develop competence. When you develop competence, you are able to solve problems, and that should be the bane of any kind of business, any kind of project you want to go into. If it's just about you and your friends, then it's not going to thrive. But if you're solving a problem in the environment, in your society, then you get to acquire wealth. You get to contribute value, because now that you're contributing value, then you acquire wealth to yourself. So you learn to acquire skill, you develop your competence, you solve a problem, you now contribute value, and as a result, you acquire wealth. So wealth, you notice, wealth was the last thing on that note. Wealth was the very last one. So please, skill, competence, problem solving, value added, and then wealth. Let that be your target for this period. We've been talking on Nigerian youth. We've been talking about the role of the church. We've been talking about the role of the youth themselves, and then the role of the government in nation building to ensure that every young person in Nigeria, we are about 60% of the population, we get to enjoy the facility, we get to enjoy even the resources of this nation, and we get to contribute our quota to making our nation a better place. It's been AM Chat. My name is Tomisin. Before we go, the website to register for the program from the Deeper Christian Life Ministry is www.dlsohq.org. dlsohq.org. That's the website to register. If you're a parent and you have a child between the age of 13 and 23, please register your children on www.dlsohq.org for this powerful gathering of unstoppable achievers that will be happening on the 22nd of September 2018. And that's just next week. So take advantage of it. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you again on Thursday. Bye.